Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's live stream AMA. So good to see you all. And you know what? Luke's going to be in a minute. And I thought we always do, well, we don't always, but we often do little giveaways on this live stream, but we usually do them like in the middle or near the end. But I really want to reward some of you guys that are always here right at the start of these live streams because it's funny. We usually start out around like 200 viewers, which is where we're at right now. We're at 223. And then by the end of it, we're usually over 1,000. But I want to reward the people that are like always here. You're always here. Okay. So flood the chat right now with whichever union you're in, and I'll give away some wines to random users. Okay. So just start posting. Just post if you're in, where are we going? We got Reapers, Seed Rights, or Wild Groves. Just start spamming the chat with them. I want to see which one you guys are in. And then I will like randomly scroll and choose a few people, and we'll send you some free wine to celebrate chapter 3 coming out, which has just been so hectic, so much fun. Bob Union. Unfortunately, Bob Union does not count. I'm going to try to pick I'll try to pick 3 people one from each union, which means Wild Groves people, I'm sorry, but you are disadvantaged right now in this little giveaway because fewer people need to leave Wild Groves, guys. We need more balance here. Okay, here, let's bring up Luke. Oh my God.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Very nice. We're doing a little wines giveaway right now. So I just have people flooding the chat with their union. And then I'm going to give away one or like, I don't know, a set of like a case of wine or something to one person from each union. Okay. All right, let's go. I'm going to start scrolling. I'm just scrolling. I'm not even looking at the chat, guys. I'm going to click. All right, Simon, I think you've won something before. Maybe not. Okay, well, congratulations. You've won some wine. Reach out to Pixel support and prove somehow that you are yourself, and we will send over some wine. Okay, hold on. Let me take screenshots of these things or I'm fully going to forget to. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. Wild Groves is covered. We knew that was going to be first. So now it's going to be hard to randomly select from the other ones, but bear with me here. Okay. Okay, I kind of have to look at it a little bit more to like see if, okay. Dynamic Warrior. Oh, I'm happy to see you. This is awesome. So yeah, reach out to support. We know who you are though, so it'll be pretty easy there, but reach out and we'll get the wine sent to you. And then this is going to be the hardest one. Okay. I might have to actually stare at the chat to come. And the first Seed Rights I come across is probably going to have won. And also don't lie because we can check your account and see what union you're in. So don't lie to us too. All right, let's go. Let's see Seed Rights. Okay. I haven't seen any yet. Oh. Anders, congrats on your wine winnings here. Reach out to support, prove that this is you, and we will send over some wine. Okay, that was fun. I think we should do some giveaways at the beginning of AMAs more often just to reward you guys for coming out early. We always appreciate it. Anyways, Luke, how is McDonald's? I really had to check what fast food restaurant that is.
Yeah, we're just trying to make ends meet here in Web3 gaming. The earnings have to come from somewhere, right? So I'm picking up a shift. This is what will fund Pixels moving forward. No, I'm just kidding. But Web3 gaming, let's talk about it really quickly before we dive into the AMA, because I think it's on everybody's mind right now. Basically, crypto in general, market outlook is not looking so good. The sentiment's probably the lowest I've seen it since... Honestly, to me, this feels even worse than FTX crash. Like, this might actually be the lowest sentiment point I've seen in crypto for a long time. I think in 2023, if you guys remember also, crypto gaming was pretty quiet. We saw a lot of teams starting to die in like the end of 2022 to 23. And I think the difference right now in the market between like 23 and 2025 is there were a lot of teams that raised funding kind of off the back of Axie in Web3 gaming at the end of 2021, early 2022. Pixels is one of those teams, right? Like I literally put a slide of Axie Infinity in our slide deck back then, which is kind of funny, right? So 2023, the bear market was a little bit different because there were still teams building, and really the ones that were running out of funds at that time were mismanaged funds. Now we're 3 to 4 years, almost 5 years after that time frame. And what you're starting to see is a lot of Web3 gaming teams finally fully capitulate, right? And truthfully, I think what you're going to see in Web3 gaming over the next 6 months is going to be way worse than I think you guys saw in the end of 23 or the beginning of 2024 when you saw some teams starting to die. You're seeing news of some teams having TGEs that have not gone so well. You've seen news of teams leaving Web3 entirely. And yeah, it's a weird time in Web3 gaming right now. Now, what I'll say with Pixels is, we still have funding, we still have the ability to go out and build, and we're still pretty dedicated to making Web3 gaming work. Anything I posted on Twitter in the last couple of days is just like light trolling, because I think now is the time where we need to be like a little bit lighthearted, because the situation isn't, amazing when it comes to the macro. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't specific teams inside of Web3 gaming that are building interesting things and are making steady progress. Like, for example, Pixels just had a high uptrend in return on reward spend. We're seeing some like initial things that actually might indicate that what we're building is actually kind of working in a sustainable manner, right? We're updating some of our metrics when it comes to return on reward spend, and we'll show you guys updated dashboards on like exactly where we're at and how things are going. But what I'll say is like the signals over the last 2 to 3 weeks have been quite positive inside of Pixels, and we actually have a lot to share with you guys, a lot to update you guys on week. And it seems like the sentiment inside of the game for core Pixels is actually one of the best that I've seen in like the last 6 months to a year. So if you've been playing Pixels and you're inside of the community, I think everybody in our community sees a positive uptrend with the gameplay, with where things are going, and the direction of Pixels. This is because of a couple different things. One, like we're starting to crack the code a little bit more on how to actually best give out earnings inside of the game and how to build out more sustainable earnings models. This is because of a couple different reasons. Like the first being the team has just been building better content and better gameplay, right? The recent update with merchant ships and like the sushi mechanics inside of the game were really popular with users. People said it was way more fun than a normal task board. 2, Chapter 3 has come out. Did it release last week? That's crazy. It's only been a week since we released Chapter 3. But initial sentiment, just the read on it, is that you guys actually like it, which is great because the team worked pretty hard on it. And the third reason why things have been trending better for Pixels lately when it comes to community sentiment is because of like some of the stuff that we've been doing with more targeted earnings and rewarded offers. Now, there's still a lot of work that we're doing there. And maybe what I'll do actually today is I'll give you a sneak peek on what we're working on next, because it is really, really cool. I've been debating if I want to share it or not, but I think just for this AMA's sake, I think a small sneak peek might be fun, just so you can see kind of the direction that we're heading in when it comes to earnings and everything that we're thinking about there. Even though it's very early, it's still probably like a month or 2 away. But yeah, you might see like a little leak on that stuff. But yeah, overall, we're pretty happy with how Chapter 3 has come out so far, and initial results have been pretty positive. Not to say that there aren't tweaks that we need to make. So I think when it comes to agenda for this AMA, what we should do is we should talk about one, like have a discussion with you guys on how you guys think Chapter 3 is going. Any suggestions that you guys might have, we'll like bring up. And then 2, we'll give you like some small updates on like what we're thinking about when it comes to balance, tweaks, gameplay, all of that. And yeah, we'll use that like as a bit of time for like workshopping with you guys. Like what we've learned over the last 6 months, honestly, is like we changed strategy internally. Here's what we had done during 2024 that I think was wrong. In 2024, we were seeing a lot of success with Pixels when it came to traction. Like we had 1 million daily active addresses. It was probably about 500,000 real DAU at Pixels peak. We had pretty crazy traffic to Pixels. If you go and look at third-party websites like SimilarWeb, there were 44 million page views to Pixels.xyz in 2024, like 44 million unique page views, which is pretty crazy. the Binance listing, all of that stuff got us a lot of exposure. We converted that into probably like, 4 to 5 million real people that played the game. And yeah, we had some like initial signs of like pseudo product market fit. Now the issue is in 2024, we weren't sustainable. Like we could see that the model wasn't going to work as is. We had dug into a lot of the data. There really wasn't the spend that we needed to. Not to say that it wasn't there, but it was kind of lopsided when it came to spend versus earnings. We did $24 million of revenue in 2024, but we gave out way more rewards than that. And you can go and look at the historical data. We make that all public. But we knew we needed to make some changes. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to monetize core pixels like you would a Web2 game. And we brought on some really good people in Web2 into core pixels. And we wanted to bring in best practices from Web2 monetization into the game. And that's when you started seeing us do a lot of the live ops events that you saw. We started introducing more like microtransaction style mechanics. And there were some things about that were working, but we also realized that actually wasn't the right model a little bit too late going into early 2025. Anytime that we released, a new event inside of Pixels, we were doing more of a live ops driven strategy for monetization. We would have really high spikes in spend, but the users inside of the game wouldn't feel very good about when we did, basically, because we had a lot of spend inside the game, and those spikes of spend were not really equal to rewards. That's how we were trying to make up for all the rewards that we gave out. And we started making some realizations that the Web2 tactics in Pixels were not going to work long term. Like we were going to keep churning users, we were going to keep losing user trust. And we decided to take a different strategy where instead we basically promoted people from inside of the community to help run core pixels. And that has been so much more successful. Basically, we wanted to change the model. We wanted to make sure that we were building features that our users wanted and that felt good to users too. And that's kind of where we're at now, basically. So this team has been working hard for the last like 6-7 months building all these features, and now you're going to finally starting to see the results of that in core pixels. And I think the game is trending in a direction that I'm pretty happy with now. If we keep this up for the next year, I think we'll get Pixels to a spot where Web2 users genuinely find it fun, and then we can start even doing Web2 user acquisition as well. So that's generally like a high-level plan. Some of the key changes that we made and what we're thinking there. We're gonna combine that with kind of moving over to like traditional Web2 UA soon too, and I can kind of give you guys an update on that through the Pets app. I'll probably actually even grab my device and show you guys an example of what the Pets app looks like right now. And yeah, that's kind of the high level of everything that we're seeing where we're at right now. So with the state of Web3 gaming right now, I think it's fair to feel a little bit nervous about the future of Web3 gaming just due to the market. I think I saw a report the other day that like 50% of Web3 gaming tokens that are still live are at all-time lows, which is not good. But we kind of have a plan on how we might be able to turn that around. Basically, there's no belief in any altcoin right now. And I went into this on a podcast the other day, like a little bit in a different AMA. And I'll kind of, if you guys are interested, I'll get my thoughts on that. And like how
that podcast is live, actually. We just retweeted it. The blockchain gamer one.
Yeah, with Blockchain Gamer Biz. I kind of went on the podcast with them and I kind of explained like, where I think I explained like where I think the market's at, like why we're not really seeing belief in altcoins and what you might need to do to change that. But yeah, if you guys have been a part of Pixels, you guys know that projects can fight the market if they execute and do all the right things. Like Pixels did it, right? When Pixels started blowing up at the end of 2023, that was widely thought of as a complete Web3 gaming bear market. Like people were saying Web3 gaming was dead. There's no more users. Axie tried and it will never work again. And, Pixels kept chugging along and kind of proved to people, no, you can get traction on a Web3 game. Now the next issue is how do you get a Web3 game to have traction while still being sustainable and attracting a new audience of Web2 users who are not necessarily only earn oriented? Or at least how do you tweak a game to make it so that play to earn mechanics, which I still have the hot take that every single Web3 game is play to earn, whether you like it or not. How do you make play to earn mechanics actually work? Like, how do you have some people, be able to earn while still having a model where the game can make money, pay for salaries, and continue to grow a new user base? And yeah, we're making progress on that, but that will be the next stage that a team has to crack in order to get belief in a Web3 gaming token again. So I can kind of lay out what we're thinking there if you guys want. But I think first, maybe what we should do is like dive into more specifics on chapter 3. And we'll kind of go into that. So yeah, is there anything that you want to share about chapter 3 and updates? And how do you think it's going, Heidi? How have you seen general sentiment around it?
I think it's going really well. I think it's doing a lot of what we'd intended it to do. And a huge part of that is just users playing it as they would be playing the game already, which is just great news. Sentiment from community, and most of you guys already know this, it's pretty high. There are definitely some tweaks to be made, and those are in the works. The team is working like crazy to make tweaks and balances and all of those sorts of things. But I do have some numbers for you guys too that we can share. Let me quickly find that. Some pretty impressive stuff. So we've had around 7,000 players play so far in just under a week, which is pretty fun, pretty good news. Wild Groves is around half of those users, and then the split of seed rights to Reapers, it's like 2,000-ish in Reapers, and then the rest in seed rights. And the last session, this is cool. This is really cool. The last session had 45,000 sabotages and 35,000 deposits, which is just like crazy numbers. I also find it so interesting and maybe a bit telling of our community that there were 10,000 more sabotages than deposits. So if you guys want to talk about that, we can. But I guess it's also like task board, you would be getting, if it's equally split, you would get more sabotage ones because it's like 2 to 1. So I guess the numbers do number, but I just thought that was really funny. But yeah, do you want to, one other question I saw was someone asking like, how do I know when the next session is? There is a little, hold on, actually, you know what? I'll just share my screen. It'll be a lot easier to show you guys. There's a little, what is it called? It's not a clock. It's what are those things called? This thing.
Countdown?
Yeah, but like, what are those things actually called?
Oh, the hourglass?
Hourglass, and you can click on it. And so the next one is around, it's always like roughly, just because there's some things that happen in the back end, but roughly midnight UTC, I believe. That is midnight UTC. So in around 6.5 hours. Yeah, so you can click on that to see when the next session starts. Oh, am I sharing the wrong thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's good. There. Okay. That's what I meant to share. Hourglass. How did you even know what I was talking about then? You can click on that.
Yeah.
I guess we always use it. So you can, click on that and see around 6.5 hours is when the next session should begin. Cool. Yeah, so there's a few other things. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, so here's a few questions about, or like a few comments on like some of the stuff that we're seeing with the gameplay right now. So just high level, if you are tuning into this AMA and you haven't played chapter 3, how chapter 3 kind of works is we implemented a faction system, and they're called unions. So there are 3 unions that you're able to join inside of chapter 3. Wild Groves, Reapers, and Seed Rights. And right now there's one union that's kind of dominating. You see this in like some other gameplays that have implemented faction systems. Like for example, Pokemon Go is kind of notorious for this right now. They have 3 factions and one always loses. But there's ways that we can kind of balance this out to make it so that, one, if a union loses, we can give them a bit of a boost or advantages for the next round. Like right now, if you are in a losing union, you just get some more resources to use in the next round. But we have been proposing mechanics internally with the help of your guys' feedback on basically providing like better buffs for a losing union next time to give them a better chance, and even like tweaking some of the rewards potentially to make that even like better and smoother. There's a few different types of mechanics that we can add, and I'm not going to like strictly say that we're absolutely doing these, but I just want to give you an idea of the way that we're thinking. Like one example could be when a union loses, we might give them a head start for the next time when it comes to hearth help. Or one other thing that we could do is if there's, a union that is lagging behind, halfway through, we might even be able to give them like a small boost for having more deposits. So there's features like that that we're kind of talking about and likely going to be implementing. I don't want to like, strictly say the exact way that we're thinking about it or exactly what we're going to do, but just note those are coming in like the next week or two. And yeah, in the meantime, there's like even smaller things that we can do too.
Okay, there's a few things that I want to quickly go through. So the little gems above the fireplace, what do they indicate? So first of all, it's been a little bugged, but I've been told that they are pushing out a fix today, so hopefully it'll work better. But it indicates first, second, third at that point in time. So blue is first, yellow is second, and red is third. So you can kind of like roughly see the, what's it called? Leader board. I don't know, there's 3 of them, but you know what I mean, the placements. It's all good, but you need to nerf Flint's task board and increase verdant hollow stones are too much, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we've heard this feedback a few times, and the team has looked extensively into it, and everything is balanced on the task board. And then, one second here. I straight up sent this to our dev and said, "Can we do this?" And they said, "Let me look." Just like literally, I sent a screenshot of your message and said, "Is this possible?" So just wanted to let you know that feedback went directly to dev. I think it's a good idea. I don't know if it's possible because right now, yeah, like us adding that little countdown timer is pretty manual. So it'd be awesome to implement something like this. And then there was one other comment earlier. Someone said, "Oh, I'm working a lot. The sessions are too short." We agree. Like the first session, you guys, how many hours was it? Like it was so fast.
Like 2 or 3. Yeah, we thought it was going to take like a week. So yeah, here's how it's been working so far. Basically, after every session, the team has been taking a look and they've been making balance tweaks after every single session. So there's been live updates like 5 or 6 times already in each session. So there's tweaking on how long they last, like points per each resource, all of these things. So the team is doing a lot of balancing, and you can see it is feeling better and better each time. Like they're lasting a little bit longer. Now there's also like some meta that the players will need to learn also. Like for example, somebody made this point saying something like it's also similar to how staking started. So what they're meaning by that is like there is some self-balancing that will come out through the system also. Like for example, here's one scenario. Imagine that every single player joined like the winning union, and there were like maybe like 5 players in the other unions, right? That actually might not be worth it for you to join the winning union then, if every single player was in the winning union, right? Because basically how it works is the winning union gets a share of the prize pool, right? So if everybody's in that union, your share of the prize pool will be smaller, right? Because so many people are in it. It actually could be worth for you to join the second place union in that scenario, because you actually might get more rewards for even contributing less, even if your union doesn't win. So actually, there is a bit of meta that you'll have to think about when you join the union with this side of things too, right? And you might only really get the feel for that if you play like longer and you're like a bit more engaged, right? Like I saw some people saying they were bringing spreadsheets out back again, which is kind of funny. But yeah, the players who are very strategic might even notice that now, right? Like you might see it if you place high on like the second place leaderboard, you actually might have better earnings individually than participating in just the winning union. So there's even tweaks that we need to think about when it comes to things like switching costs for unions too. Like one tweak that we implemented right after Chapter 3 was released was we lowered the switching cost when unions weren't live, right? We changed it to 1 pixel. Now, if we implement boost systems where users or like the losing union gets a big boost, maybe we want to like re-up the switching cost because we don't want people just to like all switch unions all the time too. But there's interesting meta that comes through this side of things, right? So we kind of the system could be self-balancing if everybody's aware of that. Now, not every user, if you're a casual user, is going to get into a spreadsheet and do all of the math, and we have to understand that also. So that's where some of these other tweaks when it comes to like boosting losing unions or other things might be helpful. That way you don't, if you're a casual user, have to like literally do math equations to figure out what union to join. And this is where we're going to start to like play around with the feedback and the balance and the tweaks also.
This is a side note, but yes, congrats to Calypso for hosting the next Social Dungeon. So if you guys are aware of Pixel Dungeons, they have this new feature, Social Dungeons, and they ran like a bit of a contest for who gets to host the next one, and Calypso won. So I was just looking at their Twitter to see if they've posted when it's happening. We don't know when it's happening yet, but yeah, congrats. We will let you know, obviously, and we should all go participate when it does open.
When are we going to see the next big thing in merchant ship stores? Also, can we still see rewards in merchant ships like Tiki's? So one thing that we're thinking about, and like I've suggested, is I think there could be an interesting tie-in to this union gameplay and merchant ships. Like, for example, if we added in like big boosts for this union gameplay inside of merchant ships, that could be an interesting tie-in. So we've talked about some stuff like that. That would probably be like a little bit of time away, and not like months, but like, you know, the team needs to like sit down, decide what makes sense. But I think that's kind of what we're thinking about there. And like general thought process.
Mm-hmm. But there aren't any more Tikis, I will say that.
Neon Zone looks like a bigger update than Unions. What else can we expect in Chapter 3? Is Chapter 3 only Unions? So essentially, here's the gameplay strategy. And somebody else also asked a good question too about endgame. Yeah, what would the other endgame features be? Like, will there be some upcoming events or games that will give out some pixel rewards? So what I'll say is like my initial first impression of Chapter 3 is actually this is relatively successful gameplay. And this type of mechanic is interesting enough where I think we should consider more mechanics like this that might have even more depth. I think the competition strategy and like the economic planning has actually been relatively popular, and it's actually been relatively successful too for an initial launch. What we've been saying before Chapter 3 is we kind of want to see how it goes and see if this is a type of mechanic that's interesting and if it's something else that we should keep releasing around. And also, you know, when we're thinking about Chapter 4, if Chapter 3 had like signs of success, I was kind of saying we should double down on more mechanics like this that might have even more depth of gameplay. And my first impression is, yes, this is probably the right direction to take the game when it comes to competitive elements. And for a Chapter 4, I think we should be thinking about more types of gameplay like this. One thing that we've tossed around is, you know, actually having the community help us decide what Chapter 4 should look like. And, you know, this is still, we're working on seeing what the best system like this would be. But I think what we might do is we might even have you guys vote on what a Chapter 4 would look like. So we're still kind of trying to figure out exactly how we do that and what mechanisms we allow for that. I think what we might do is some combination of like token staked would allow you to have a vote versus like land ownership versus like all this other stuff too. It would probably be like a holistic voting system. But I think that kind of makes sense for us to do, where we basically either allow you guys to introduce proposals on what a Chapter 4 could look like and kind of put it into the community's hands, or we also come up with our own take on what a few different proposals for a Chapter 4 could look like and have you guys vote on those. Now, anytime that we actually have to go out and build a feature, you know, there's obviously always a cost associated with building a feature when it comes to time, resources, energy on the team. So one thing that we always want to be careful about when we build out new things is we don't want to do something that is too big, right? Like I think the strategy of shipping smaller stuff more often and iterating on top of it is probably the winning strategy for Pixels in the long run. We took too long with some previous updates before. Like Chapter 2 took us too long to get out. Things like merchant ships initially, it took us too long to get out. I would rather us release smaller releases that we can build on top of and polish after release than do something too big. So, for example, if the community were to say, hey, we want you guys to go out and build like a whole Pokemon monster catching mechanic and a battle system and all of this, that might be something that's too big to piece into one release. But obviously that's something that we can work with the community on to kind of scope it down and like figure out like what makes sense to release and what stages too, right? So that's the only little concern I would have with community suggested releases, because we actually have to go out and build them. We want to make sure that we're able to build out something in a timely manner and not do it in something that's like too unrealistic to build. But obviously also like what we should be building is stuff that the community wants, right? And that will probably be what we have the most success with in the long run. Some other things we're thinking about with Pixels too is let me go get my device really quickly and show you. We've been working on a new game. I gotta turn off this background. I'm quitting McDonald's. I'm out of here. All right, so we've been working on a new app. We've talked about it a little bit. Some people keep asking where it is. It's this Pets app. Essentially what it is it's a social style Tamagotchi app where you raise a pet with another friend. You have to keep it alive and you have to do tasks every single day in order to level it up, keep it alive. And yeah, it's fun. It's in early stages right now. It's actually in early access. This is a build that I downloaded off of the Google Play Store. Now, right now, this app is geo-blocked. So you can only download it if you're in the US, and it's in a special designated category in the Google Play Store of early access. So what that means is, one, you're gonna have to expect the game to be drastically changed often. Your progress has a chance of resetting, like all this stuff. So we're actually not encouraging our community to download this app now. But if you're a Pixels enthusiast and you really want to see the stuff that we're working on, you could go download it now. Now, what we have been doing is we've actually been running paid advertising on this app, and we've been running ads. So the people playing this app right now are not the Pixels community. There's a few of you who have gotten early access because we actually messed it up, and some people were able to download this app in different geographies when they weren't supposed to in the first day or two. Some of you very eager people have it on your phones now. Or I think if you really wanted to, you could figure out how to get it on the US App Store, even if you're not in the US. But again, like we're not pushing our community to do this right now, because what we wanted to do is we wanted to run advertisements and start to target Web2 users and see how they play this game. And it's been super, super helpful to understand, one, how we can start to acquire a new Web2 user base for any game inside the Pixels ecosystem. And then two, how this game actually performs without any earning mechanic, without like any expectation of like any of that stuff, standalone. And we've learned a bunch of stuff already from this. Like one, the game without the earnings mechanics right now is performing okay. There's a few ways you can determine this scientifically through retention, engagement scores, all of this kind of stuff. And what we've learned right now is like the app is actually looking like it's in a positive direction, but there are a lot of things that we need to tweak about the app right now before we start adding in any earning mechanic or any like real UA spend. We're only spending about $1,000 a week to grow this game right now because we just want to test with a small audience and learn everything that we need to with real Web2 users before we start to scale ad spend and before we start to scale rewards inside of the game. And yeah, there's just like really basic things like fixing the tutorials, fixing the first time user experience, all of this. So again, we don't really want you guys to download it for these reasons, because we want to basically improve the game with data first But what we've been doing with the paid advertising is we've also been running tons and tons of different types of ads. So we've been learning what exactly resonates with the Web2 audience when it comes to messaging around things like earnings. We brought up a few examples. We brought up a few examples of this stuff before. Like, for example, we told you guys we ran ads basically talking about earnings inside of its pets game to see what a Web2 audience prefers. We ran an ad saying, hey, you can earn crypto playing this game. You can earn a gift card. You can earn cash. And again, very helpful lessons. The ads that said you can earn crypto were the worst performing ads that we had inside of the like trials that we ran basically. But earning is still extremely popular. We've tested ads that don't talk about earnings. We've tested ads that do. And the ads that do talk about earnings perform way, way, way better than the ones that don't. That's kind of obvious, right? So yeah, basically all these ad variants have taught us basically how to do Web2 UA with a play to earn game. And we'll use all these lessons that we learned from this app with Core Pixels too. So yeah, essentially, in addition to Chapter 4, the plan with Core Pixels is we'll probably end up making a mobile port of Core Pixels. And when Core Pixels is in a spot where the economics are good for a while, like I kind of want to see return on reward spend over 1 and like honestly a bit over 1 for at least a month. Then we'll start working on a mobile port and we'll start doing mobile UA for Core Pixels also. So things basically like get Core Pixels in the spot where we can start doing normal user acquisition and break out of this Web3 bubble a little bit. And then 2, start to build out more mechanics that just make the game more engaging and more fun in the long term too. So yeah, it's kind of the game plan there.
So first of all, I'm offended. I don't think such a thing can exist. But I will say that it is completely changing. What Luke showed you is early version, right? Vibes are changing. The style of pet is changing. A lot of it is changing. This is just like a very early, and that's part of the process. When we're running all these ads, we also ran like types of pets and like who, what attracted people the most. Vibe of the game, what attracted people the most, right? So we're doing like just basically tons and tons of market research to see what works. And yes, it will be far less pink, unfortunately, in the future. Okay. My pet died 50 times. Okay. This is actually part of the feedback that we have received, not only from market, not only from users, but internal team. We agree the pet dies way too quickly. So
yeah, so this is the exact stuff that we're testing first too. Like these are the balance tweaks that we need to test as well. So this is why we're getting all this data from these paid users first, or well, not paid users, but like the users that we basically bought in a Web2 sense, like doing paid user acquisition. And this is why we're not releasing the game everywhere yet. Like somebody said, the game is not available in my country, Italy. Yes, that is the point. Like we'll start to make it available once the game is balanced and in the right spots. Like even for a good example, we ran paid advertising on different pet styles. Right now, the game has a capybara inside of it, but we're going to be swapping out that capybara with something that we've seen perform much better with paid advertising. So until we get this game into a spot where we feel really good about the metrics, which there's certain targets that we would have for a Web2 game, like retention is how you kind of measure success of a game. Right now, the day one retention is sitting at like 29, 28%. Not bad, but we want to hit like a 35 to 40% day one retention. And there's just a bunch of tweaks that we need to do, like, making sure the pet doesn't die too quick, making sure that tutorials are good, making sure that the core game loop is good and engaging too. Like we're going to totally change the core game loop as well soon and have there be like an earn component into the core game loop, which we know when we start to introduce anything with earnings, it'll drastically increase retention. But the idea is we want to get that game in a spot where the retention is good without that first. And yeah, I think maybe one other thing I can share too. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share this because I kind of wanted to do like a big product announcement around it, and we will, because honestly, the people that watch these AMAs, you guys are our core audience. This probably won't break out of, the Pixels crypto Twitter bubble too much. But yeah, I'm going to share this with you guys too. So there's another thing that we've been working on internally. We've been calling it Project Neo, right? And I talked about it a little bit in previous AMAs, but essentially it's a new way to earn inside of the Pixels ecosystem. We've been kind of tweaking out. And I think one thing that would be interesting is if I kind of show you guys what we think about with the future of play to earn and kind of our approach to it. So on the back end, here's what Project Neo has been. Basically, we've been building out a rewarded offer system, and you guys have been seeing it inside of the game over the last month or two, right? You guys, every now and then, will start to see an offer flash inside of the game. Basically, a new type of task that you guys can do that will give you some earnings inside of the game, right? And what this has really been powered by is this whole crazy back-end setup that we've been integrating. And this is kind of how we view the future of everything that we're doing at Pixels. It's basically one way to earn inside of all the games we build and even other games too. When we release the Pets app, you actually won't earn any rewards natively inside this Pets app. The rewards will all be in a different product, which internally, again, we're calling it Project Neo, and it'll be through a different app. So let me share with you guys like what that could look like basically and how we kind of envision that. So basically, we're going to create a whole new app also in addition to the Pets app. Again, right now we're calling it Project Neo, but this is kind of what it could look like. This isn't the final version. This is kind of just a test mock-up version, but I want to share with you guys the vision so you can start to understand. So basically, it'll be a whole new app that you have to download on your phone, and it'll basically be an earnings dashboard. You'll see earning tasks in your favorite games in the Pixels ecosystem. Like, for example, anything that would pop up on your offer dashboard in the core game would also appear here. And the cool thing is, if it's a native app, we can also give you a notification. If there's a new offer that you can earn inside of core Pixels, it'll go straight to your phone and you can go and play Pixels because you have something you can do inside of the game immediately, right? So you'll get tasks like this. There'll also be tasks inside of the platform as well. And you'll also see tasks across basically every other game in the ecosystem too. So right now you just see things for Pixels, but imagine tasks for Pixel Dungeons, for Sleepagachi, for Forgotten Runeverse, and also for other games too. There's actually a bunch of other games that are not in the Pixels ecosystem directly that are integrating this SDK now. Which is exciting. So you'll see games that are not in the Pixels ecosystem use this as well. And the end goal for this too is we also want to work with Web 2 games too. Like, for example, imagine us giving you a task inside of a game like Candy Crush or Monopoly Go, also like Web 2 games you might already play. And maybe you'll even be able to earn inside of games in Web 2 that you already have. We want to prove it with these Web 3 games initially, but the long-term plan is basically make any game in Web 2 or Web 3 a play to earn game, right? Now, there's a lot of back-end tech that has to go on in the back end to make this work. Like, if we want to make a Web 2 game play to earn, we really have to make sure that the Web 2 game doesn't lose money if they make it play to earn, right? The only way a Web 2 game would integrate this game or this SDK is if it helped their bottom line at the end of the day too. So that's where these targeted offer systems help, right? A Web 2 game has a bunch of different goals. Like, sometimes they want users, sometimes they want downloads, sometimes they want more engagement inside of the game. And that's what the system is kind of built to do. It's built to kind of give the right rewards to the right types of people to make sure that these games perform even better. So yeah, expect some stuff like that. You might be able to even look at different games you could go and play that have different tasks to do. There might be challenges that you can go out and do. And yeah, it would be the same concept where you can basically go into, you would basically get like points, you would get Pixel, you would get a cryptocurrency, you'd be able to withdraw it just like you do inside of core Pixels now. Or you can maybe even spend like some of the currencies that you earn just directly in this app too. Like, if you want to buy a coin pack on sale, you might be able to do it inside of this app also. But yeah, it'll be a standalone app basically. It'll go on the app stores itself, and it'll be kind of the way that you earn inside the Pets app, and maybe even in core Pixels in the future also, and like other Web3 games as well. So yeah, that's an exciting thing to do. We'll do a whole product announcement. We're ready to share it to the world. But I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek and have you understand like how we view play to earn, because we're still extremely dedicated to play to earn. Like we wouldn't be building a whole app around play to earn if we didn't think it could work and if we weren't seeing early signs that is working. And yeah, I know I made it's funny. Some people saw that one tweet I made.
The copy pasta.
Yeah, I posted this as like a little bit of rage bait. Some people
It's been
believe
posted
it.
all over our Discord too. Even in the chat here, people were saying it earlier. It's just funny when people believe it. It's like,
Yeah, I posted this. Play to earn is officially over. It's time to
let me
pursue
zoom
a
in.
job.
Or wait. Yeah, perfect. There you go. Why is it so weird? Okay.
So yeah, we're not going anywhere. We still actually really strongly believe in play to earn, and this will probably be the future of what we believe play to earn looks like. Yeah, I did. There was a really funny reply I saw. Let me bring it up. But yeah, no, we're kidding. We don't think play to earn is dead, guys. It's just a joke, but it got a lot of impressions, so I think we should keep posting.
It's just engagement farming, you know. Chicken said he almost had a heart attack reading it. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the I just saw like the first, I think it was a notification on one of our accounts, like Luke posted and it said Web3 Gaming has said. I was like, oh, he's asking for it today.
No, there was what I'm trying to bring up the
and then I read it and I was like, oh, okay, he is asking for it, but you know.
Let me go to my here. I'm not going to share screen for a second. Let me go to my bookmarks because I saw the funniest reply.
You bookmarked it.
It's true though.
You bookmark a lot of things on X. I think I probably have like one thing bookmarked.
When other founders post this same exact thing, people say like rest in peace. But when Luke does it, no one believes it's real. I mean, I think that is a nice thing, right? Like we've gained enough community trust where we can be like a little silly with this kind of thing. You guys know we're still here to stay. We're not gone. I know Web3 gaming is in like a weird, sad, not super optimistic spot right now, especially with like a lot of the recent things that have happened. You know, a few really bad TGEs recently, flash crashes, all of this kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess I don't have an option. I think even if I did post a retirement tweet being like, I'm done with this, none of you would believe me. I don't think I have an option.
No, I don't believe that. All right. What other questions do we have here? You guys are insatiable. Seriously, go play chapter 3, first of all. Second of all, it's called Spore Sports. So
oh, somebody asked about vPixel. And when will it fully replace Pixel in game? We have an interesting vPixel mechanic that we've talked about that I don't want to completely share yet, but I think you'll see something interesting in vPixel in the next month or two. I think we'll integrate it into the game a lot more pretty soon in a cool mechanic. Is that product that we talked about, Neo, like Ronin Arcade? There's a lot of differences between Ronin Arcade and this product. Basically, I think what Ronin is doing with the Ronin Arcade is great, and like an interesting right step. But the issue is, like I've been watching it pretty closely. It's not very targeted or precise what they're offering you, right? And that's actually the biggest and most important thing to get right with a product like this. You really have to make sure that you're giving the right offers to the right people, or else it won't feel good, right? A really good example is if you have an offer to somebody who is, it's like intended for monetization and purchasing, right? Like different people have different abilities to spend different amounts, right? Like if I'm giving an offer to somebody in the Philippines, or maybe that's not the right thing, but like it is true, right? Like different people spend different amounts, right? And that's just like a fact of life. Like somebody spending inside of the Philippines versus somebody spending in like a country like Korea, it's typically is a little bit different, right? So expecting somebody in a country where the currency isn't as strong to spend the same amount as somebody in a country that is stronger doesn't really make sense. So things like scaling the rewards for different types of users is kind of important because it doesn't feel as bad that way. And it's also not an unrealistic ask that way too, right? So that's a good example of like one way that you can make something feel better, right? Targeting rewards to different people where, you know, if we did have a spend oriented reward where it's like spend this and get this back, like the ask of somebody in, you know, a lower, like a country that, you know, just doesn't have as like strong of a currency might be not as high for the spend ask, but it also might not be like the same amount of reward too, like transparently. Like this is a Web2 thing. Like if you go into Steam, you don't have to pay as much for games in Brazil as you do in the US, right? Like that's a normal thing. So that's why targeted rewards just work a little bit better, right? You ask different things of different people and you give them different rewards for different things too, right? There's users that probably will never spend, and that's also okay, but maybe you should give them different types of tasks to do than a user who is like really engaged with spending too. Because just because they don't have the money to go and spend in the game doesn't mean that you shouldn't reward them. But you might want to reward them for different things, right? Or maybe instead of asking them to spend, you ask them to watch an ad. There's like a lot of different ways you can pull this off and make it feel good for everybody and still work for the game and be, you know, good for the ecosystem too, right? So that's a lot of the experimentation that we're going to be working on in this system.
Okay, I'm gonna do something kind of crazy just for funsies. Okay. I'm gonna tweet from my personal account about switching unions. And if you, okay, hold on. How do I word this? I'm gonna give away one 12 months, guys. We never give away these. One 12-month VIP coupon if you switch to Seed Rights Union and you comment it on the tweet that I'm about to post. Okay. I want to just mess things up. Let's see what happens. You guys are in. Let's do it. Why not? I can hear the designers are gonna be like, Heidi, don't do that. I think it'll be fun. Let's see what happens. Okay, hold on. I have to do the tweet. Okay, it's posted. All right, so go prove yourself on this tweet. I just posted it in the chat. Go prove that you swatched. Oh my God, this isn't makeup. That you swapped to Seed Rights, and then I don't know, maybe like tomorrow or the next day, I'll give one person a 12-month VIP coupon, which is kind of crazy. We don't ever do that. And you know what? I'll even make it tradable. So if you have VIP already and you can trade it, like this is an extreme giveaway, but I want to see, we want more, and yes, this is a temporary solution to the imbalance, but I just want to see what happens. Let's have some fun here. I love how many people are like, I'm not swapping. That's fine. Don't do it. You don't have to win. That's okay. Okay. Luke, I think you have to swap too, apparently. That's not fair. I didn't say it was. You don't have to do it. We're just having some fun here. I just switched. Let's go. It's not rigged. It won't be. It'll be totally fair.
All right. Maybe one more serious question. We'll talk about token, all this stuff too. So yeah, what's interesting is Pixels has actually been trending pretty positively when it comes to extraction, right? And we've actually had moments of return on reward spend over 1, which is actually the opposite of extraction, where Pixels like hit moments of profitability, right? Where there have been less rewards given out than spend inside of the game. And that trend is continuing, which is great. It's going up and up week on week. So yeah, we need that to have long-term life inside of Pixels, right? Like if Pixels isn't minimizing like net extraction in the ecosystem in the long run, then yeah, the game probably will die, or at least the token won't be in a good spot, right? I went pretty in depth into my view on like tokens and price about tokens in that interview with Blockchain Gamer Biz, but the TLDR, like the too long didn't read or watch, is basically tokens now are kind of losing the speculative layer inside of all of Web3, right? I think I saw a list of Web3 gaming tokens, and I think 50% hit all-time lows this week, which is not good, right? Basically, there's not really external buyers of tokens inside of Web3 for gaming and for all of alts, actually. If you look at the price action of the Pixel token versus other tokens, alts, gaming coins, all of that, it basically has completely followed the trend and price movement of every other token, which is interesting because that means that one, fundamentals are actually not being respected in the market right now. And one, because most people don't know, and maybe like retail doesn't have the education. And two, there's just no retail buyers of tokens right now. So how do we make it so that retail becomes interested in tokens? And how do we make it so that the like Web3 gaming ecosystem in general can start to grow? Well, what we need to do is we need to solve the fundamentals of Web3 games. I don't think we're going to see any altcoin break the trend until they can start to prove that they're sustainable and they can start to attract a Web2 audience and a Web2 buyer base also. So long-term plan with Pixels is we're trying to make it sustainable for like months, and like we want the trend always to be sustainable, right? That's why we're introducing gameplay mechanics. That's why we introduced Chapter 3, this rewarded offer system. That's why we're going to start to do Web2 user acquisition. And we want to show basically the rest of the world that you can have a sustainable model with Web3 gaming. And what's great is we also already have the systems in place to make it so that that can actually help reflect in the fundamentals of the token also through our staking system, right? So long-term plan with Pixel token, realistically, honestly, is eventually it might become a stake-only token. Like my ideal situation is we stop all emissions of the token and still make the game play to earn and still like have a reason to hold the token, which would be through staking and getting yield through staking, right? So yeah, that's kind of the vision here. And I think we're making all the right moves, and step by step we're getting there. I know the Web3 gaming space and industry feels a little scary right now, and it's not the most fun time to be inside of Web3 gaming. But yeah, what I can say is we're still going to build. We still have time to do it. And I think we're making all of the right moves right now. And I think we're finally starting to see some of the benefits of all the work that we've done over the last year and a half when it comes to the fundamentals, right? And when fundamentals start to look really good, the tokens that are performing right now are the ones that do have the fundamentals behind them. Things like Pump Fund, things like Jupiter, and Hyperliquid too would be ones that I think are really good models. And the way that they're able to do that is they basically are making a lot of revenue. They actually have fundamental, like they have a fundamental business behind them, basically. And Web3 gaming tokens are altcoins that don't have that. It probably is in the future. So what you need to see if you want to see the long-term success of Pixels is we do need the game to be sustainable. We need the return on reward spend over 1. Truthfully, I probably want it at like 1.4 to 1.5. You want to see us starting to, after we get return on reward spend over there, also start to expand daily active users across the ecosystem. And you want to start to see us start to scale the revenue as well, right? So return on reward spend over 1 is good, but if there's only, $100,000 of profit a month, then that might not be enough to like really attract interest. Like, we might need to start scaling that 10% a month, where in a year, ideally we'd be up $1 million of profit a month, right? And then that's when things start to get interesting. So that's kind of the plan. Basically, we have to keep releasing games and products that generate revenue, and we need mechanisms that allow that to help defend the ecosystem and help defend the tokens, basically. So if you believe in everything that we're doing there, then that's great, and we'll continue to make progress in that direction. And yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Okay. Yeah, here's the tweet. I'm dead serious. And I want this balanced more. So let's try something fun. And I don't think people get it because everyone was like, "Oh no, it's 50 pixel to switch." Like, "Oh no, guys." I actually commented here. This is worth 8,000 pixel, guys. I don't know if you knew the price of a 12-month VIP coupon these days, but it's 8,000 pixels. So yeah, this is supposed to be extremely tempting. That's the whole point. So go switch to seed rights, and then we'll see what happens in 6 hours at the new session that opens, or season. Sorry. Okay, cool. Luke, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all on my mind.
All right. All right. We will see you guys in Hearth Hall. Hearth,
Thanks, everyone.
right? Bye, guys.